Hello everyone, I am the Meta Kirby, and welcome to my channel, The Commander Tavern. The Commander Tavern is a channel dedicated to my favorite Magic the Gathering format. On this episode of Barkeep Upkeep, I'm going to ring in the new year celebrating some of my favorite combos. Some of them are very off the wall, but hopefully they inspire you to be more open to what's possible in Commander if you think outside the box. If you like any of the cards I'll be mentioning throughout the video, please consider using my TCG Player affiliate link when purchasing those cards. You can find that link down in the description. It'll really help out the channel. The best way you can help support the channel is with my Patreon. For just $1, patrons get early access to certain videos on YouTube. In fact, patrons got a chance to see this video earlier. You can also support my channel for free by simply liking, subscribing, and sharing, which also helps out a lot. You can join the Discord server for free if you want to join the Commander Tavern community. All pertinent links are down in the description. Alright, let's get back to the episode. The first combo I want to present is one I'm super proud of. In a game of Magic, we're usually able to reanimate anything from our graveyard: creatures, enchantments, artifacts, planeswalkers, and even recast instants and sorceries. One thing we've never been able to do is reanimate players. Well, that's about to change. As I mentioned, I'm pretty proud of this combo, so hopefully you like it. I call it Friendship No Jutsu. After defeating an opponent, they are technically no longer in the game. But even though they're defeated, etiquette has to remain at the table. So cast better than one, targeting one of those fallen opponents turn spectator. Do it when you have Decorated Knight in hand and something like Gilded Lotus on the battlefield. When better than one resolves, give them control of Gilded Lotus and put Decorated Knight in their hand, but don't give them cards for their library, battlefield, or anything else. They can then tap Gilded Lotus to cast Present Arms and get their original library back. It's important to know that with the way Present Arms is worded, the deck becomes their library. Even though commanders start in the command zone at the beginning of a game, they're part of a deck while it's not in the game. So the commanders will be inside the library. But being a commander is a property of a card. So when a commander changes zones, they can put it back into the command zone instead. Their commander is going from the outside of the game to their library, so you can split hairs here and consider it a change of zones, therefore having their commander go to their command zone and the rest of their deck to their library. Thus, their commander will be in the command zone and without commander tax since they haven't casted from the command zone yet. Now, that might seem fine and dandy. However, what if an opponent is immune to Friendship No Jutsu because their assault is too strong? They might simply not cast Present Arms and thus lose by drawing from an empty library, taking you down with them. You can prevent this by altering the combo just a little bit. Here's how to do it. Cast better than one to return them to the game as your teammate. When it resolves, only give them control of a single creature you have and nothing else. It doesn't even matter what the creature is. Then you cast Present Arms, hold priority, then cast Sudden Substitution, exchanging control of Present Arms and the creature. Since Present Arms will resolve while they control it, they will now have no choice but to exchange their empty library with a deck they control outside of the game, since it's not a you may effect. Hopefully they'll succumb to your Friendship No Jutsu when they see how intent you are on being their friend and not their enemy. And in case you have the suspicion that this doesn't work, I asked Sheldon Memory who treated this response. So make of it what you will. But to me, that response allows me to pull it off. Because if you're playing with silver bordered cards, then it works how you'd expect it to. It might as well, since you're playing well with silver bordered cards. You can also use this combo to take down an arch enemy. Let's say you're the last one standing against that one player who killed off the other two players. Using this combo effectively makes the game a 2 versus 1 between you and a fallen opponent. Super fun. The next combo I want to present is very evil but still fun nonetheless. I call it With Friends Like These. While there are many ways to pulling off this combo, here's just one route that I find to be the fastest. Use Mishra's Toy Workshop to cast Increasing Devotion. Since you need to use toys to represent the tokens, use an Applejack, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Rarity toy in lieu of the 5 human tokens. Having these 5 tokens represented by these toys will allow you to activate Princess Twilight Sparkle's ability. I have already asked all the pertinent persons and they have confirmed it to be so, as proven by these tweets. However, this doesn't make it evil since everybody's winning. That's when you cast Angel's Grace in response to Princess Twilight Sparkle's ability so that only you win. And it's guaranteed because Angel's Grace has split second, so it can't even be responded to outside of turning up a morphed creature. However, more often than not, it'll win you, and just you, the game. Because if your opponents can't win, then everybody becomes just you. Remember, the real treasure is the friends we betrayed along the way. Now here's an easier combo to pull off, and it's in black bordered for those who don't associate December to January as the golden time when silver bordered cards were once legal in Commander. I call this combo Taking the Ball So No One Else Can Play. It might seem like a bitter and spiteful combo, but sometimes desperate times calls for desperate measures. Cast Divine Intervention, but then with something like Karn's Bastion, populate in order to always have a counter on it. Otherwise the counters will go away on their own and the game will end in a tie. However, when you're about to lose, simply remove its counters with something like Vampire Hexmage, and then the game ends in a draw. A draw is definitely better than a loss. Force your opponents to either be your friend and leave you be, or have the game end in a draw. Those players who lose the game still lost the game, but at least you and the other remaining players can try and play it out for the draw. Thanks to this Mexican standoff, the most an opponent can do is attempt to disrupt it, but once they try, you can just push the button and make it a draw, because a draw is better than a loss. I call this next combo World Championship Tour. This one is also black bordered combo, with the caveat that only a single human being on the planet can legally play it, and that's Chan Champeng, since he is the 1996 World Champion. Sheldon Memory himself confirmed that this card is legal to play in Commander if it's Tom playing with it. So Tom, if you're watching, hopefully you get some ideas. As for the rest of us, we'd have to make do with Rule 0 and either cockroaches or proxying it. In any case, this is a very simple combo. More interaction than combo, but you'll see what I mean. The reason I call this combo World Championship Tour is because the other half of it is Joffrey Gauss Forge. When 1996 World Champion enters the battlefield, you choose an opponent. However, when you inevitably kill that opponent by making 1996 World Champion unblockable, maybe with something like Sun Quan Lord of Wu, giving him horsemanship, killing that opponent makes 1996 World Champion become a 0/0, thus dying as a state-based action because the opponent is linked to dies. But Joffrey can then create a spirit copy of it. You now choose a new opponent when the token is created. Then when that opponent dies and the copy becomes 0/0, dying as a state-based action, thus leaving the battlefield, Joffrey then returns the original 1996 World Champion to finish off your third opponent. Since the champion is coming back time and time again, hence the name of the combo. Well, interaction more than a combo. It takes more than just a combo to make it to the top though. If you do want to win with a combo, then just choose the opponent with the most life and then cast Shangra's Ignition on 1996 World Champion. That should definitely help you win the match. The final combo in the deck is an application of the infinite Planeswalker activations with Teferi Temporal Archmage, Tesseret the Seeker, and the Chain Veil. Well, you're also going to need mana sources that tap for more than one mana like Soul Ring, Coral Atoll, etc. The way this setup works is by tapping down both permanents and 2 other lands to activate the Chain Veil and keep 2 mana floating. Then activate Tesseret to untap Soul Ring and the Chain Veil. Tap down Soul Ring again to get 4 mana total in your mana pool. Activate Teferi's +1. Then use 4 mana to activate the Chain Veil. This will allow you to activate Tesseret and Teferi again. However, Tesseret can only ever untap Soul Ring and the Chain Veil. You'll have to use Teferi's -1 to untap 4 permanents. So you tap down Soul Ring and the lands to get 4 mana again in response to Teferi's ability. That way you have the mana to activate the Chain Veil. You do this infinitely many times, alternating between Teferi's plus and -1 ability. This gives you infinitely many activations of any Planeswalker you have in play. Now, before starting this combo, you're going to have Richard Garfield Ph.D. on the battlefield. Preferably, he's your commander since this can be done in mono blue. Use Richard Garfield to cast any spell that costs 3 generic mana and 1 blue mana as Cure of the Tide's Fury. This will work because I asked Mark Wolswater and he said so. Basically, you can use Richard Garfield to cast any card as any other card so long as the casting costs match. Cure of the Tide's Fury is a card, so it works. With Kira on the battlefield during the infinite Planeswalker activations, activate her first ability, conjuring a card named Crackling Hatchling into your hand. You should then be able to do this infinitely many times. To conjure a card, simply take a placeholder card and put it into your hand. Now comes the fun stuff. Cast one of those Kraken Hatchlings cards as Mystical Tutor. Since Teferi is always putting a card into your hand, top deck any instant or sorcery from your library that costs 3 generic and 2 blue, then get it into your hand. Cast that whatever sorcery as Battle of Wits. Then cast one of those Kraken Hatchling cards as Personal Tutor. Top deck a sorcery that costs 2 generic and 1 blue. If you cast it as Windfall, you'll win the game because you'll draw less cards than opponents do, and they'll draw way more cards than they could possibly have. But that's not what we want. So we're casting that sorcery as a Time Twister instead. With our hand full of infinitely many Kraken Hatchlings now in our library, when we go to our next upkeep, we win the game. We will undoubtedly have Crackling Hatchlings in our hand again. I'll go so far as to say 7 copies since we have infinitely many in our library. So with so many 1-costed counter spells, we can potentially protect our Battle of Wits until our next upkeep, casting them as counter magics with Richard Garfield. However, if you want to win that same turn, it's still possible. Before casting Time Twister, we can use Tesseret. Since he's been activated infinitely many times, he's going to have infinitely many loyalty counters. Use his second ability to tutor for Spy Kit from your library right onto the battlefield. Equip it to Richard Garfield. Then cast one of the Kraken Hatchlings as Mask of the Mimic, targeting Richard Garfield. Since he has the name of every non-legendary creature, you can search your library for any non-legendary creature and put it onto the battlefield. So search for Sphinx of the Second Sun. Now when your combat phase ends, you get a new beginning phase. And thus in that upkeep you win with Battle of Wits. I call this combo line, only the creator of Magic the Gathering would be able to win a commander game with Battle of Wits. I know the title is like a Fall Out Boy song title, but it's pretty fitting, if I do say so myself. To all you viewers, I hope this video has been as fun to watch as it was to make. These are some of my favorite combos, not just because I made them, but because they involve some pretty spicy interactions that would only be possible thanks to Rule Zero discussions. So hopefully you're inspired enough to want to try them and allow silver border cards in your Commander games. If you would like more videos like this, seeing some kind of combos and other things that I'm working on, just let me know in the comments. I would like to thank all my patrons for supporting me, and a quick shout out to all my higher tier patrons, the Brewers, for their patronage. I'd also like to thank anyone using my TCG Player affiliate link. That also helps out the channel. And to everyone, thanks for watching this episode of Barkeep Upkeep on the Commander Tavern. I am the Meta Kirby, and thanks for listening.